welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to the Jedi group. Of course, this voice may sound familiar to you. It should. Uh, this is the only male cruise, and we're on the backup channel. The Jedi group. Um, it's not a mind trick. It's justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Um, so today I wanted to just put this out in the atmosphere because I don't know how many people are actually even aware of this pet to threat syndrome. Um, but I said, you know what? Let me see about getting on here to uh, kind of get this out and just put it in the atmosphere. I hope you can hear me. Hope I can be heard. But anyway, I wanted to put this out in the atmosphere and um, just kind of bring awareness to the actual issue or the actual phenomenon, as it were. Let's see here. So, yeah. So, I'm just going to be reading a couple articles regarding the subject. It's very interesting in 2013, and actually, this article is coming from Forbes. It was actually published in 2022, um, or updated in 2022. But the title of the article is The Infuriating Journey from Pet to Threat: How Bias Undermines Black Women at Work. Now, that's interesting because, I think oftentimes we as Black women, we find ourselves in these, I don't know, work relationships, and all of a sudden things change, and you're like, well, what's going on here? Seems like the thermostat has adjusted some type of way. And, we struggle to identify what that change is, what did in fact happen. And sometimes it can be this particular phenomenon, which I was actually totally unaware of, which is the pet to threat uh, phenomenon. Let's see here. In 2013, University of Georgia professor Dr. Kecia Thomas identified a phenomenon that adversely affects the career arcs of Black women. Dr. Thomas found that early in their careers, women of color received and benefited from the support of their managers and mentors, often white males, who were eager to train and cultivate them. But as these women became more confident and more competent in their roles, their mentors' attitudes often changed. And you wonder, like, okay, well, why? What's up? What happened? What's tea? Um, so Support under these circumstances dissipated, and in many instances, the mentors became indifferent or even hostile to their mentees. Dr. Thomas termed this syndrome as going from pet to threat. Black women seen initially as likable, moldable novices become more suspect as they grow in their jobs and exert the influence and authority they have earned. Their increased agency is perceived to threaten the status quo in a culture typically dominated by white males. Even as these women are on the cusp of advancing, they lose support and access to career building opportunities. And it's enough to make you wonder, like, why would that why is that a problem? The first thing one might want to say is, oh, they're hating. Okay, yeah. Um, how do you fix a problem like this? That's interesting. So the pet to threat phenomenon cuts across industries and sectors, as evident in experiences of the MLT alumni, all women and men of color. In MLT's new research study, 50% of MLT alumni felt that a white mentor or sponsor who supported them later felt that person had undermined them. Seemingly clear skies of opportunities suddenly transformed into turbulent workplace experiences as these acolytes progressed from bright newcomers with strong credentials and promise to proven professionals. Now perceived as a threat, the former pet is viewed negatively and even cast aside. Some respondents, including men, report their top notch credentials and performance accomplishments actually worked against them, emerging as a source of resentment among managers, mentors, and peers. Hmm. So the firm's senior partners exclaimed that they were impressed with me and the job I was doing after a private equity investment committee in front of my managing director. They joked they would make me the managing director and replace him. He turned red and began to undermine and compete with me after that until work became unbearable. That's just a quote from one person. Another quote from someone in their experience: my supervisor was supportive of me and my efforts, but as time went by and I started being noticed by leadership, including her supervisors who gave me special projects outside the team, she started to hold me back, uninvite me to meetings, and scold me when I spoke to leadership without her knowledge. Many MLT alumni noted that no matter how strong their backgrounds or their accomplishments on the job, managers, mentors, and sponsors who once supported them later undermined them because they were perceived to be competition or a threat. Mm. The pet to threat phenomenon reflects one aspect of a host of implicit and systemic biases that are too often, or as you were, that too often derail the careers of talented people of color. MLT's playbook for career development and advancement underscores the importance of cultivating mentors to help navigate organizational culture, coaches to hone specific soft or technical skills, and sponsors to advocate for promotions and identify other career building opportunities for rising talent. Without these pillars of support, people of color are left to navigate alone. It is troubling that despite being top performers, two-thirds of MLT respondents face difficulty finding mentors or sponsors, and 38% have been denied access to professional development opportunities. And I was doing some research on a project last year, and that's one thing I learned. One of the statistics that I ran into was that Black women suffer in the workplace environment due to lack of mentorship, due to lack of a coach or a support or an advocate. Okay. And so if you want a Black woman to be successful in a corporate environment, mentorship, advocates, those are key often. That's critical to have in order for them to, have someone that's speaking on their behalf as opposed to them just kind of scurrying around, scrounging around, trying to figure out which way is up. Now, that's not to infer that a Black woman without a mentor, without an advocate is, doomed for failure. But if you want that person to be successful, you will provide them with someone that can lead them in the right direction or make the necessary connections in order for them to advance. Um, and I don't know, do people feel resentful that they didn't have a mentor or they no longer have an advocate or, you know, it's a tough thing. Um, Without these pillars of support, people of color are left to navigate alone. It is troubling that despite being top performers, two-thirds of MLT respondents faced difficulty finding mentors or sponsors, and 38% have been denied access to professional development opportunities. So, um, pet to threat phenomenon. That is an interesting phenomenon. I was totally unaware of it. I just happened to be researching some things and ran across it. From another article I have here from Pet to Threat, experts address career obstacles for minority women. And for minority women, professionals looking to advance their careers, the obstacles can seem insurmountable. To shed light on these challenges and potential solutions, um, there was a leadership summit talk in New York in May titled From Pet to Threat. And drawing on the research, Dr. Gomes discussed the various strategies that minority women professionals can use to successfully navigate their careers and create a successful professional future for themselves. So, I don't know what you know, if you heard about pet to threat syndrome, if you've experienced it or not. It'd be wonderful if you've left a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. If you've heard of this phenomenon, what your experience has been, if any, or you know somebody that knows somebody that's gone through that. Um, but yeah, that's just another one of those unknown, unnamed, unseen stimuli that is can be found in the atmosphere, and Black women are typically the recipients of this phenomenon. They're the ones that have to wade through it. And so when you can name it, then now you can work towards uh, demolishing it, getting over it, getting around it, getting below it, and getting on to your path of to your successful destiny. That's it. That is the podcast. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Definitely leave a comment. I'd really love to know what your thoughts are on the pet to threat syndrome. And until next time, we will see you when we see you.